everyone, this is Bunny, and we're here today to talk about just a couple of other tools you might want to get before you start painting your miniatures, because it's always good just to have a thing or two around that you can just make your life a little bit easier when you're painting. And the first thing I want to talk about is light source. Yeah, this is a book light. Now, you can splurge on your light source and get something really expensive. You can get some really nice lights that are round and they have a magnifying glass so you can bring them down so you can see the details on your smaller miniatures. You can get that, but they tend to be a little more expensive. You can also, this is a book light, just get a book light. Okay, whatever you get, it's important that it has white light. Okay, so this book light produces white light. It also produces the yellow light and it produces a hybrid light. Okay, so mine does all three. Okay, I like using the white light because it gives me a really good look at where I've missed or where my shading has to go or where I should highlight. So it's nice to be able to use something. Okay, you want something that casts decent light and that actually has some kind of arm that you can change the angle really easily and not have to move your miniature to the light. So I like to clip this to the shelf right above where I paint, and then I can aim it right at my miniatures, and it allows me to not have to go take my miniature over to the light to check. It allows me to have the light on my miniature here at my painting table where I don't have a light directly overhead. So you can get just a book light. This one was about a $10 book light, but you can also invest in something a little more expensive if you like. But a standard book light does work. Just make sure it has a white light. So the second thing you want something to hold your miniatures. You want a hobby holder. Now you can either buy one or you can make one, but for your smaller miniatures, it's almost a necessity because when you are painting this little miniature, first of all, you don't want to be touching your miniature constantly where you painted, because if you're constantly touching, constantly holding, you might rub off that paint because it's not fully painted yet and it hasn't been sealed. So the oils on your fingers could rub off all that paint that you so carefully put there. But also on smaller miniatures, it's really difficult to hold in a way that you can paint all the spots you want to paint. So if I want to paint this rock, but I want to hold on to the base, it's hard to paint her rock and her branch because I can't get in there with my fingers in the way. So if I take my hobby holder and I stick her on my hobby holder, all of a sudden I can reach and my fingers aren't in the way. And I like this one because it fits nicely in my hand, so you do want to find something that fits nicely in your hand. And you want to find something that you can use for multiple shapes. So this guy, for example, he is just a piece of wood, a piece of boat that I'm going to be painting soon. And if I want to paint him, it's difficult to paint him, mostly because if I'm just holding onto these little rocks at the bottom, it's really going to get annoying. Like I want to paint all the wood, so I'm trying to hold the rocks, but I can't because my finger's in the way, and over here it's all just a mess. So I stick him on my hobby holder. There we go. Now he's easier to paint, and I only have to pull him off there when I'm going to paint those rocks at the bottom because that's the only spot my hobby holder is touching. Now there's two different styles of hobby holder. There's this kind that grips the way this one does, and then there's another kind that I actually don't have because I don't like them very much, but what they are is you put a piece of tack, poster tack mostly, you know, the stuff that you stick on the back of your posters, and then you stick your posters to the wall, and then the posters don't fall down, but you can take the posters down when you want because it doesn't ruin the paint. That stuff. And my stuff is usually blue. I do occasionally buy it, so I do have the tack. I just don't normally use this for painting. So what you do is you can hold the hobby holder in your hand, put the tack on, and then stick the mini onto the tack. And that allows you to use it very much like you would use this, but it gives you access to the base. I don't like that kind because when I'm painting the base, I don't like it on the hobby holder anyway. When I'm painting bases, I like to use my hands. So I like to actually hold it, paint that base, let that base set, and then I usually paint the rest of the miniature. So it doesn't matter which style you use. You can use this kind. I love this one. And you can also use just the normal poster tack kind. If you don't have either of those, get yourself a pill bottle, stick a little tack on there, stick your mini on there. You don't have to invest a lot of money. You can just use an old pill bottle, stick your guy on there, and look, now you have a hobby holder. Okay, one of the features of some hobby holders that I don't like, but you might, is some of them have an armature that comes out and kind of surrounds, and it gives you a place to rest your hand while you're painting. I don't like the armatures. Okay, I don't paint in one specific position. I move my hand a lot and the armatures get in my way. But if you do like the kind with the armature, then that's fine. You should get the kind with the armature. Either way, you should have something. Okay, you should absolutely have something that holds your miniatures while you're painting. Again, you don't have to buy something. You can just use a pill bottle. Boom, look, hobby holder. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but having something, like even him, you could stick him on there if you wanted. But having something might just make your life easier. Now, you might not use it for every miniature, so I don't use it when I'm painting larger miniatures, because I don't like having to manipulate a larger miniature with a hobby holder. I prefer to use my hands. But for smaller miniatures, there is nothing like being able to turn it because you're using a hobby holder. Okay, just being able to rotate and being able to shift without having to touch the miniature itself. So for smaller miniatures, I absolutely recommend a hobby holder. So get yourself one or make yourself one. It's really easy to do. Get yourself some poster tack and an old pill bottle or really anything in that shape. Technically, you could probably put poster tack on the bottom of this, sticky mini on there, ta-da, you've got a hobby holder. So if I wanted to use it like the other type of hobby holder, I could, but I'm not going to because I like this. So you definitely need to get something you're comfortable with. You don't have to use this type. This is the type I prefer. There are 2 types. So take a little time to think about what will work for you and get a hobby holder that works. Even if you make it yourself, that's fine. But just anticipate that you're going to want something to hold your mini for you. Just because it really will make your life 1,000 times easier when you're painting. This is one of my indispensable tools that I need when I'm painting smaller miniatures. So get yourself one, you won't regret it. That is about it for today. Next time we're going to start talking about paints and what brands I recommend, how much you should spend. It's really a wide open field, so we're not going to talk about that today because that is a much longer video than I have time for right now. So yes, get yourself a light source and get yourself a hobby holder, and then we can start painting next week. That's it for us today. I hope you'll be back with us next time. Bye!